From introvert to extrovert. Crossing boundaries, facing the fears I grew up with was challenging. Latino, Chinese born and raised, obviously two worlds collided with no winners on the battlefield. The Chinese factor, still predominant, on my mom's side, my dad's first generation was losing ground. But his blood was pure. On my mom's side, she was second generation. So I was literally 70% Chinese with the other 30% Latino complications. Very conflicting and compelling at the same time. I am the fourth in line. The youngest, the girl in the family. Mom's favorite if you would have thought. Nope. The oldest of the boys, of course the first one took the throne away. It was a 3-1 score. I decided not to lower my guard and go against the flow. Yeah, right, every time we sat at the table for our meals, no talking when you are eating, only when you finished. Say good morning, good afternoon, good night. In Chinese. Study hard. Succeed. No questions until after meals are eaten. Being the last one. Again being number 4th, had to wait a long time. If my bother number was lucky to be listened to, was a lucky situation for mom or dad to be considered, my parents' way of teaching was to let us know survive on our own devices. Perhaps brother number 1, who got all the acknowledgement, was to teach us everything he learned from our parents. Encouraging. My mom praised, you will know how to react to life situations when your time comes. Hello? I'm the only girl in the family, ma. The 4 of us grew up looking forward to study totally different careers, administration, mechanics, programming and advertising. All of them demanding lots of communication skills. Being bold and confident in every single way was the key to survive. No room for shy people, lady. As adults we all departed our own separate ways. Guided by trial and error, that was at least better than waiting for the lucky lady to come and help us. Time passed by and the opportunity to migrate to another country showed up in the horizon. I love challenges, I took it. A door of opportunities just opened bright for me. A new world of opportunities was to open in front for me. Jobs just started to become more scarce in my country as the government was not keeping up with solving the country's problems. I decided to give a try. Maybe an opportunity is waiting for me somewhere. The question was, where? I went to the Canadian Embassy and applied for a visa, hoping my credentials would be beneficial to complete and graduate on my career. 4 months later, an acceptance letter arrived. More documentation was required, so I proceed to request the required documentation for the final approval. Also needed were the passport's photos. I was also interviewed to prove the authorities my fluency in English. To reinforce my English pronunciation, I continued studying English pronunciation, to ease on my Spanish-speaking pronunciation that identifies easily this language. I like to sing, so I started to sing along the music being played on the radio. At that time, karaoke was starting to be the favorite for parties and weddings, and weekend family reunions. One Monday morning, I received a letter send an informative package. I got approved and accepted to migrate to Canada. I just needed to go and pick up my passport. 2 years later, I embarked on a plane with a final destination. Once landed, had to study English first. Then apply for a job. I had to break my shyness. I went back to having an increased sense of insecurity. Lots of verbal training and vocabulary, still practicing, shy on conversations. I was afraid of saying or sounding awkwardly stupid. My introverted personality increased. I had to find a job. I had to break the ice. I had to gain my confidence back. A year passed by and landed my first job. A friend recommended me to work at a dry cleaners company. I had to quit due to my transfer to a higher level English and fluency. Yes, it sounded too good to be true, but still not confident enough to carry a proper conversion. Still shy, many opportunities to apply for a job were present at that time. It was easy to apply, and the employer supported you on the time slot work, to allocate time for studying the new language. Due to my grammar and vocabulary, I only needed to be more fluent. Needed a different type of job. By word of mouth, I learned a new company was looking for people to work filling orders, with a possibility of moving up in the original position for what they applied for. And I applied for it. And got accepted. I started as a packer. Then I was given an opportunity to process online orders, filing, administrative support. That forced me to be more fluent on my pronunciation. One day, I overcame that fear and took over different positions throughout the company. I also learned a new job, manufacturing and packing of teas. I was offered to implement their packing S&D blending of their products, security and de-sig.
Attention or attraction, she replied softly. Nelson, I am not too sure that we can pull this off. As they sat opposite each other trying to look like they were in love. Their hands were clasping each other tenderly, and their eyes were staring into the depths of the other person. He smiled at her with a smile that said, I love you, and his soft brown eyes held a twinkle that Sue had come to know as his lying twinkle. Whenever he was lying or trying to get out of doing something, his left eye would twinkle brightly as if to say, don't believe a word I am saying. The twinkle that would shine from his left eye was as brightly as a lighthouse light which was trying to alert everyone to the lie that he was about to utter from the depths of his soul. She liked the way Nelson looked from the top of his soft brown hair that she daydreamed about running her fingers through its depth. To just feel the softness of his hair was really doing a number on her. She would daydream about gazing into his soft brown eyes, with her fingers tangled in his brown hair moments before their lips would clash in a silent plead to get attention. Her arms bringing his muscular body closer to her in a loving way as their kiss deepened to a passion and caring one. She knew the more time they spent together as a so-called couple the faster she was falling in love with him. Deep down she knew that she would not have any difficulties playing her role as his lover and his girlfriend, when the cameras were turned on them. She wanted to tell him now how she felt toward him, and every time she told him that she loved him was becoming more of the truth than a lie, to fool the reality show they were trying to get on. Dream World was the new television show that wanted couple to come on the show and tell the world what it felt like to be in love. Nelson had their history all planned out. He was going to tell them they met in high school and lived a few blocks from each other. They hated each other until they got into college, and that is when they started to date, so they wouldn't get homesick being away from home for the first time as adults. The two teenagers supported each other in a relationship that was bounding them together for life and didn't really get serious until the 4th year of the college when they moved in together. He was the first to say, I love you, and they both knew they would be there for each other for a long time to come. Dream World had already called them once to say they were sending out a camera crew to capture them on film to preview for their show. They would be filmed go out to dinner, the movies, and anywhere else they went on a date. Dream World wanted to show the world how it felt to be in love. Nelson was afraid how everyone would react when they saw the twosome on the new reality show expressing their love for each other. Would any of the other students from their hometown know they were lying just to be on the new show? How they had hated each other in high school and college. He would walk by her in the hallway and purposely knock into her, muttering how crowded the hallways were at this time of the day. His friends used to tell him that he was in love with her and just wanted her attention. He would laugh at the nonsense they were spouting off because he was always in a relationship with Sarah Newton, the head cheerleader and prettiest girl in the school. He remembered how Sarah used to pick on her as well by shoving her out of the way or tripping her to make her fall. They would laugh about the way they treated Sue back in high school and college. And now, she was willing to help him get out of debt by pretending they were lovers on the verge of getting married. He had told the Dream World producers that they were going to use the money for their wedding. They had everyone fooled with this stupid stunt, and even some of his friends were remembering how they had acted toward each other. Nelson felt bad about acting like a bully toward Sue now. They had been bullies to act like that as children, and when he mentioned it to Sarah, she had agreed to the point of calling themselves bullies. He wished he was single instead of married to Sarah. Sometimes, she could still act as if she really didn't care how she treated anyone, and when things didn't go her way, she had a terrible fit. Nelson could remember the day when they were shopping and the store told them their credit card declined their charges. They had went over the limit again on 2 of their credit cards, and Nelson had mentioned to Sarah that she get a job, instead of lying around the house. She had gone unglued at the seams was the best way to say that Sarah had a fit to top all the other fits she had while they had been married. She had even gone as far as to throw a lamp at his head. He was getting tired of walking on eggshell around her lazy butt, and the next time Sarah said she was going home to her father, he was going to tell her to go